He'd delivered to this address 3 times before. Big gates, long driveway, purple everywhere. He just thought it was some rich eccentric. Then the man at the door said, "Come in, I want to show you something." And nothing was ever the same again. 7801 Audubon Road, Chanhassen, Minnesota. Thursday night, February 2014, 11:23 p.m. Outside, 8 degrees Fahrenheit. Wind chill -15. Heavy snow. Inside Ryan Carter's 2003 Chevy Cavalier, approximately the same temperature. The heater had been broken since December. Ryan was 21 years old, music student at McNally Smith College of Music in St. Paul. He'd been working Metro Pizza 3 nights a week for 8 months, the only way he could afford tuition. Tonight was his 4th delivery of the shift. He was wearing 2 hoodies under his jacket. His fingers were numb through his gloves. He had a music theory final at 9 a.m. He hadn't slept properly in 4 days. He checked the address on his phone. 7801 Audubon Road, Chanhassen. He'd been here before, 3 times in 2 months. Always late, always the same order. 2 large veggie pizzas, no cheese, extra sauce, always cash, always a $20 tip. Big compound, looked more like a recording studio than a house. Purple accents on everything. He figured, rich, eccentric. Music producer, probably. He never thought much about it. 11:31 p.m. Ryan pulled up to the gate, pressed the intercom. "Yeah? Metro Pizza, delivery." A pause, then, "Come up." The gate opened. Ryan grabbed the boxes, walked to the front entrance. The door opened before he could knock. The man in the doorway wore a purple silk robe down to the floor. Bare feet, despite the cold. Natural afro, slightly disheveled, like he'd been in a studio for hours. Small frame, no makeup, no jewelry. Tired but alert, the kind of alert that comes from creative exhaustion, not sleep deprivation. 2 large veggie, no cheese? That's me. The man set the boxes down on a table inside. Counted, cash from his robe pocket. 47 for the pizzas, then 2 crisp 20s. "Keep it." Ryan took the money. "Thank you, sir. Have a good—" He stopped. From somewhere deep in the building, past the entrance hall, down a corridor, music was playing. Not recorded music. Live piano. Someone was playing right now, at nearly midnight, and it was the most beautiful thing Ryan Carter had heard in 21 years. His feet stopped moving. He stood in the doorway, snow falling behind him, staring into the corridor, listening. The man noticed Ryan hadn't left. "You play?" Ryan snapped back. I'm sorry, I'll go. That music is just, I've never heard anything like—" "You play?" repeated, patient. "Piano." "Yeah, I'm studying at McNally Smith. Music theory and composition." The man tilted his head slightly. "Come in." What? It's cold. Come in." Every logical part of Ryan's brain said, "You don't know this, man. It's midnight. You have a final tomorrow." But that piano, music was still playing. He stepped inside. The man led Ryan down the corridor. Gold and platinum records covered every wall, custom guitars in display cases, a mixing board the size of a small car visible through a glass window, purple accents in the lighting, the furniture, the framing. This was a professional recording studio, a serious one. Ryan's brain started doing math. Chanhassen, purple, recording studio, veggie pizza, no cheese. Late nights. His stomach dropped. They reached Studio A. Inside, a Yamaha C7 grand piano under a single overhead light. Sheet music everywhere. Handwritten, covered in notations Ryan couldn't fully read from the doorway. The live music Ryan had heard wasn't coming from a recording, it was coming from this room. The man sat at the piano, placed his hands on the keys, played 4 bars of something Ryan had never heard, then stopped. "What do you hear?" Ryan listened carefully. "It's in F minor. The left hand is doing something unusual. The bass line is syncopated against the melody, but they resolve on the same beat. It creates tension, but it feels inevitable, not random." The man stared at him. "How old are you?" 21. "Say that again." "What you just said about the bass line." Ryan repeated it more carefully. "The resolution on the downbeat makes it feel like coming home, even though the journey was unexpected. Like you always knew where it was going, even when it didn't feel that way." Silence. The man looked at the piano, then at Ryan. "What's your name?" Ryan Carter." "Ryan, I'm Prince." Ryan's body went completely still. The address, the purple, the studio, the veggie pizza, the piano. Of course. Barely audible. "I've delivered here 3 times. 4. Twice in December. I didn't recognize." "I know. That's why I kept ordering." Ryan stared. "What?" Prince looked at the sheet music. "First time you delivered, you were humming something at the door. I asked what it was. You said it was something you were composing, a piano piece. I asked you to hum more." Ryan remembered. Vaguely. He'd been so cold, so tired that night. "You said it was interesting." "It was. Second time, you told me you were failing music theory because your professor said your compositions were technically wrong. Third time, you said you were thinking about dropping out." Ryan was speechless. He'd had those conversations with a man at a door at midnight, collecting pizza money. He hadn't known who he was talking to. "Tonight I want to hear what you've been working on. Sit at the piano." I can't just... That's your piano." "Ryan." "Yeah?" "Sit at the piano." Ryan sat, his hands still slightly numb from the cold. He played his composition, the one he'd been humming at that first delivery 4 months ago. It had grown since then. 2 minutes long now. He played it imperfectly, nervous, rushing certain passages. When he finished, he sat with his hands in his lap, not looking at Prince. "I know it has problems. The bridge doesn't resolve properly, and It's not finished." "What?" "It's not finished. It's not broken. It's unfinished. There's a difference." Prince stood, gently moved Ryan slightly on the bench, sat beside him. "Play the bridge again." Ryan played it. Prince listened, then placed his right hand on the keys, not playing, just resting his fingers there, feeling the vibration through the keys. "Your professor said it was technically wrong?" "He said the harmonic progression breaks the rules of classical theory." "It does." Ryan's shoulders dropped. "That's why it's interesting." Ryan looked at him. "Rules tell you what's been done. They don't tell you what's possible. Your bridge breaks a rule because you heard something that hasn't existed yet. Your professor is teaching you the past. You're trying to write the future." He placed his hands on the keys beside Ryan's. "Play it again. This time, don't fix it. Trust it." They played together for 47 minutes. Prince didn't take over, didn't impose. He supported, adding a bass line here, suggesting a chord substitution there, mostly asking questions. What did you want to happen there? What were you feeling when you wrote this part? If this piece was a person, what would they be trying to say? By the end, Ryan's composition had transformed, not because Prince changed it, because Prince made Ryan stop being afraid of it. 1:47 a.m. Ryan suddenly remembered. "I have a music theory final in 7 hours. Prince, almost amused. "You should go." Ryan stood, looked at the piano, at Prince, at the gold records on the wall. "I don't know how to... I can't. Thank me by finishing the piece. How will I know when it's finished? You'll know. It'll feel like coming home, like you said. Ryan walked to the door, stopped. Prince. Yeah. Why did you let me in tonight? Prince looked at the piano. Because you listened. Every time you came to that door, cold, tired, working 3 jobs to study music, you were still listening. Most people stop listening when they're that tired. He looked at Ryan. That's rarer than talent. 7 a.m. Next morning, Ryan sat outside the exam room at McNally Smith, hands wrapped around a coffee that had gone cold. He hadn't slept, but he wasn't tired. He was buzzing. The way you feel after something happens that you can't yet explain, but your body already understands. He aced the final. Not perfectly, but better than anything he'd done all year. 3 days later, his phone rang. Unknown number. Ryan. Prince. I want you to come back, not to deliver pizza, to finish the piece. Thursday, 8 p.m. Yes, absolutely. One condition. Anything. Quit the pizza job. I can't quit. I need the money for... I know. That's been handled. What does that mean? Call McNally Smith's financial aid office Monday morning. Ask about the Nelson scholarship. Ryan, stunned. The Nelson? That scholarship doesn't exist. I've looked. It does now. Click. Monday morning, Ryan called financial aid. The coordinator paused briefly before responding. Mr. Carter? Yes, you've been awarded the Prince Rogers Nelson Emerging Composer Scholarship. Full tuition, plus a $12,000 annual stipend for living expenses. For the remainder of your degree. Ryan was standing in the hallway outside the financial aid office. He slid down the wall until he was sitting on the floor. Couldn't speak. A passing student asked if he was okay. He nodded, pointed to his phone, mouthed, I'm fine. He called his mom. Couldn't get the words out for 90 seconds. That Thursday, he went back to Paisley Park, and the Thursday after that, and the one after that. For 4 months they worked on the piece together. Not every week. Prince had sessions, tours, a world that kept demanding his presence. But when he was in Chanhassen, Ryan came. Always at night, always in Studio A, always the same Yamaha C7. Prince never performed, never gave lectures. He asked questions, listened, suggested. Mostly he created space for Ryan to hear himself more clearly. You're the only one who can write this piece, he said once. Not because you're the most talented, because you're the only one who heard it. Ryan never forgot that sentence. 2015. Ryan graduated from McNally Smith with honors. The composition that had started as a hum at a stranger's doorstep won the American Society of Music Composers Young Artist Award. At the ceremony, someone asked about his influences. One night I was delivering pizza in a snowstorm. The man at the door heard me humming. He invited me in, spent 2 hours teaching me not to be afraid of my own music. I didn't know who he was until I was already inside. The interviewer, Who was it? Ryan smiled. A man in a purple robe who ordered veggie pizza with no cheese. Laughter. Then someone connected the dots. Gasps. April 21st, 2016. Ryan was in his apartment when he got the news. He sat at his keyboard, a cheap Casio, the same one he'd had since he was 15, and played the piece. The one that had started with a hum at a door in a snowstorm. He recorded it on his phone, posted it on SoundCloud with one line, For the man who told me to trust it, are 3.7 million plays in 48 hours. Comments poured in. I don't know who this is, but I'm crying. This piece sounds like grief and hope at the same time. Who is R? Ryan never explained publicly. Not for 3 years. 2019, he was invited to perform at a tribute concert at Paisley Park. 800 people. He sat at the same Yamaha C7 from Studio A. Before he played, he told the story for the first time. The pizza deliveries, the midnight walk down the corridor, the 47 minutes, the scholarship he'd found out about sitting on a hallway floor. The audience of 800 was completely silent. Then he played the piece, 7 minutes and 22 seconds. When he finished, he looked up. Prince told me it would feel like coming home when it was finished. He was right. It took 5 years, but it's finished. 800 people stood. Backstage afterward, Maya, Prince's longtime assistant, found Ryan by the side door. She handed him an envelope. "He left this for you. He told me to give it to you after you performed the piece publicly. He said you'd know when that was." Ryan opened it. Inside, the original sheet music from that night in February 2014. The handwritten notations Prince had made during their session. 4 months of margin notes, suggestions, questions, a small arrow pointing to the bridge with the word trust underlined 3 times. In the bottom corner, in Prince's handwriting, "Ryan, this piece was always finished. You just needed to believe it. Keep writing. The world needs what only you can hear. P." Ryan read it twice, folded it carefully, started to put it back, then noticed a post-it note stuck to the back of the last page. Different pen. Slightly faded, added sometime between 2014 and 2016. "P.S. Get a better car heater. P." Ryan laughed, then cried, then laughed again. He stood there backstage for a long time, holding 2 pages of sheet music and a yellow post-it note in the building where a man in a purple robe had once opened a door at midnight and invited a freezing pizza delivery driver inside. Both pages are framed now. They hang above Ryan's piano in his Minneapolis studio. Every time he teaches a student, and he does teach, because that's what you do when someone does what Prince did for you, he tells them the same thing Prince told him. Rules tell you what's been done. They don't tell you what's possible. And when a student gets stuck, when they're convinced their work is broken and wrong and beyond saving, Ryan walks to the wall, points at the bottom corner of the sheet music, at 3 underlined letters, trust. Prince wrote that for me when I was 21 and delivering pizza in a snowstorm and failing music school. He wrote it before I knew it was him, before any of it made sense. He looks at his student. It still applies.